Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today me and Jonathan are doing a different format here. We're doing like a guest talk show thingy majig. Jonathan originally recommended that I start one with Laura, and me and Laura are gonna do one, so that's coming up. And the difference in the format is just me and Jonathan are gonna be, shooting the shit here. We do have some specific topics that we will talk about. And I wanted Jonathan to be the first one because he's also the first person I've ever interviewed. So I thought it would be like a full circle kind of deal. So yeah, man, welcome back. And
Awesome. Thanks, Kendrick. Yeah, hey guys, Jonathan here. Although most people call me Jono.
yeah,
I am a audio NEFI consume sleep play blast. And yeah, I've had the pleasure of being the first interviewee on Kendrick's channel. And yeah, I thought we would kind of change it up a bit and do more of like a conversation style back and forth rather than just, Kendrick pinging and extracting information out of people. So
right.
yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, and for those who don't know me, my type is also ENFP, just like Jono. I'm NETE, play, blast, consume, sleep, masculine, feminine. I am his opposite. We're opposites. Same exact sexual modalities, but like
Yeah.
the opposite. So it's kind of interesting that that's the case.
Yeah.
So dude, why don't we start actually? Because like we've been in this journey for like several years now. I don't know if we start in 2018 or
Yeah,
something.
man, it's been a long time, like 5 years, 5.5 years almost. Yeah, 2018. I joined in July 2018. When did you join? About the same time, right?
Yeah, I got typed by Dave. I think July also. But it was like over the phone. So
Yeah, okay.
when he typed me, I wasn't a crackhead yet. I was a skib at that time. I was play, consume, sleep, blast, sleep.
Did you meet him already in person? Because I remember you like had an early video where you actually met him in person and interviewed him in the back of your car or something.
Yeah, that was weird, but like no, like I haven't met him in person yet. We just spoke on the phone. I sent him email and I told him like his old stuff were like amazing and it changed my life in terms of like how I develop myself and stuff. And then he gave me like he told me like, you want to book a phone call? I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of like random, but hey, it sounds awesome. Like I'm a fan of his channel, so I thought it was
Yeah,
like it's kind of weird to
nice.
talk to people that you've been watching online too for like a while.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was,
Okay.
and then I didn't know he was consumed last yet because when I was talking to him on the phone, he was listening to me very deeply, and I'm like, this is weird. Like it's like so like I didn't know later that he's actually consumed last, and like what he actually did, like on his early phone calls, he'll go on a deep consume before he'll like talk because he won't stop once he gets going. So uh
Right. Okay.
yeah, yeah, but eventually I did meet him in person because he lives like not too far from like the province in Canada that I live in, and then
Yeah.
he got like a bunch of people like from the community also go in like a meetup. Um, I met like Elizabeth, fellow ENFP,
Yeah.
was the most extroverted person in that place. Even though she's lead consume, so I thought it was interesting that if you're like DI, you would automatically be more extroverted than the actual crackheads, you know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, man.
More
Uh,
introverted.
sorry,
You mean more introverted?
more extroverted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well.
Yeah, because you're DI, so you don't care what
Yeah,
people. So
yeah,
you
true. That makes sense.
say whatever
Okay,
you
so
want.
you're typing then, did you get an official type where you went through the process, or was it kind of just Dave just giving you like a what he's seeing and
Yeah, no, I went through the entire process. So like a few months later, because he did type his NETE, but for a while I keep thinking I'm like NEFI. So
yeah. Yeah, I remember you were saying like originally that you thought you were high consume.
yeah, because I consume a lot, so it's weird that like that I felt like it was weird that I'm lead play. I mean, I knew I had Saviour play also. Like I
Right.
was consume play, right?
Yeah.
But
But
uh
it's also interesting how like our understanding of the definitions have also evolved and changed and matured. Like back then, you'd think, oh, I read lots of books, therefore I must be savior consume. But like reading books is not necessarily consume. It's one part of it. But some would say, constantly reading books could even be like contributed to blasting in a
yeah,
way.
well,
Especially if it's like if you're constantly uh if you're always reading and you're reading a specific type of book and you're doing it for the purpose of building something, right?
yeah, I was reading it for the purpose of executing.
Okay.
So that's always been the end goal. But I mean, I did read fictional books too. Like The Alchemist is my favorite book, for example. And then
Oh, nice.
I just read it for entertainment and also for because it's NF, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've read that book, but
I've heard about it. It's apparently really good.
yeah, it's my number one fictional book of all time, number one.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, so since we're in this topic already, why don't we start with this? We got me and Jono here as a bullet point of stuff we're gonna cover today. So let's just go with the first one that we already touched base on. So you said that just because you're an EP doesn't mean you're gonna have like Saviour doesn't mean you're gonna like Saviour consume, and like how are you consuming, like
Right.
the definition is more fleshed out.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start with myself and then I'll pass it on
Yeah,
to you.
sure.
And because like we're the opposite, right? So I'll talk about like what my life is like being play blast, Saviour, and then consume sleep demon, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna talk about like how you are the complete opposite of that, like consume sleep life, then play blast demon. Yeah, it also helps that we have the same like sexual modalities because like it's easier to kind of see how opposite that is. Plus like info and energy, that's like another thing that we're opposite. So I'm an EP with consume demon. So like what the fuck does that mean, right? So I think when I think I figured it out the most when I was doing an interview with this like Janie, the ESFP girl, who's like a jumper. She's also play blast, consume sleep.
Okay.
And then during the interview, she said she'll buy like tons of like makeup and like art supplies and stuff, but she won't do anything with it. So she'll gather like an EP, but she won't do jack shit with it, right? So I started looking at my life. I'm like, do I do that? Like, and then yes, I did notice that. So I love playing video games, and I'm an obsessive gatherer because I'm like a typical EP, right? So I'll go to the PlayStation store. I have a PS5, and then I'll see stuff on sale. Like the typical EP stories like you're opportunistic. So when there's a sale or a bargain, I go nuts and just like buy like shitload of games.
Yeah.
You probably do something similar. And yeah, and then but I won't play them. I'll see them in my freaking like list of games, but I won't play them. And then I'll feel bad because I already purchased it. I already spent money on it. So I'll force myself to play. So here's like it's weird, right? Like as an EP, I'm forcing myself to actually consume the stuff that I purchased. And then once I get going, I don't stop. It becomes like a full-on addiction because like my NE and FI is still like the first two function. So once I get going, I don't stop. Kind of like when Shan said that when she starts blasting, she can keep going, but getting started to blast is hard. So with like the consume demon, it's like that's what's happening. It's like I have to pull teeth to start a new game, but once I start, I go on this massive addiction. I will sleep super late at night, and I will ruin my entire week pretty much just gaming. It's horrible. Like that's but like luckily for me though, because like I have Blast Saviour and then I have Blast and Consume in the middle. I will feel so bad that I'm playing so much video games that I will go on a Blast binge afterwards because it's so balanced, right? So there's literally like like my neck starts feeling stiff and I start feeling like horrible. Like I feel like I'm a loser. I'm wasting my fucking life. Fucking playing video games all day. Like what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
If I beat this game, it's not gonna change the trajectory of my life. I'm gonna be in the exact same place that I am right now. It's not always true though. So once in a while, I do play a game that inspires me, based on a storyline, even though it's fictional. So not all games are bad, and then my SF can still like value the stuff. So but for the most part, I would say 80% of it is just like, oh, I consume like I played some video games and then like I just wasted time,
I get that. That's a good example, good topic for me to contrast with like consume sleep, I think.
Yeah.
So like I think for me, like I'll have similar tendencies, like especially with gathering, like and with the sales. So I've got like I have an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Nintendo Switch. Like I've got pretty much all the options.
Yeah.
Although this is the last generation, I haven't updated to the new generation primarily because it's too expensive and I need to kind of cut that shit out. But anyway, yeah. So with like my Nintendo Switch, like every now and then, like I'll see on the store, it's like sale, all these deals. I'm like, oh, what's new? What can I buy? And same thing, like I bought digitally bought all these games, and my library is like growing, but I've played like only like a quarter of them. And like it's like the balance of gathering versus known information. It's like you want to gather, that's the exciting part, but then once that information is then known, it's like it becomes boring. It's like I don't really care about it anymore.
Yeah. You know what? That I feel the same way, you know. It's like I already have it. I don't care anymore, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess when it comes to playing, and like I don't have the same drive to like want to dive in and like complete something. For me, I'm kind of a bit more like I just want to play every now and then, like kind of a bit more casually.
I see.
So I'll just, I'll load up a game and just play for like an hour and then I'm done and then I'll move on to something else. So I know, I guess from my perspective, I feel like there's not much of a swing. I don't know. It could also just be what you're prioritizing, right? Like, I guess with FI Saviour, like I'm very good at like prioritizing what I want to be doing.
Right.
So I feel like I'm hovering more on the surface of playing rather than like kind of doing big deep dives and just using it as a way to kind of just also sleep process, just kind of zone out and just like, I need to relax. I've done too much today, so I just want to do nothing.
Right.
Just do something very relaxing.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. You know what? Like based on what you said, where you play, more on a casual basis, just to kind of re-energize yourself after like a long day and stuff, instead of like, trying to go in a deep dive per se. I think for me, when I was younger, I did do something similar, but like I forgot when it happened, but like maybe in my early 20s or something. Like I was that guy who just can't finish school because like I don't want to do my homework because I always look at, I don't know if this is like a blasting, but like if I see something and it has no real life utility to it, I don't want to learn it because like it has to be useful. It has to be something that from a long-term perspective, I would be able to use it. So like in my early life, it's like I'm hopping from one thing to the next, one program in college to the next program, to the next program, to the next program, not finishing anything, feeling like garbage, that like I'm a nobody. And then I think it was like, I'm just gonna go a little bit dark now, but like when my father got diagnosed with cancer, that's when I had a flash of insight in my head, and I'm like, shit, like my dad, like there's like, I think my dad's the same type as me actually, but like probably like double masculine, but like we even look the same. So like I look at the look in his eyes, and he there was still so much he wanted to do in life, and now he won't be able to do it because like he didn't take care of his health. He's also sleep last. I feel like, and then he did eventually pass away of colon cancer. But like that taught me like an important lesson. Like I said to myself, I'm like, okay, like you have one life to live. You can't just sit here and squander it, like hopping one thing to the next. Like what are you doing? Like, so for me, I'm like, from now on, I'm gonna be the kind of person that finish. Like I finish things. I see things through no matter how painful it is. So so eventually I did finish something in college. I have like a business management diploma or something, and then I work in fitness for 10 years. I switched careers recently, but it took me 10. I stayed for 10 years, which is like, I feel like I saw it through the end where I got like the final certification where I can teach in a college setting for anyone who wants to be a personal trainer. So it's like, so now when I play video games, I have to play it all the way to the end, even if it sucks. I have to, even if I hate it, because like I soon realized like there are games where like I would hate like the first 3/4 of the game, but the last 4 would be really good, and then like there's like a payoff in the end. And then that's kind of like what I realized in life is like there is a great payoff from suffering. And like even like when I edit, like I don't know if you've seen my like explainer videos that I made. I made like the INTP one and the INFP one, and those took me 3 months each to like to put together, like interview, editing and stuff. I hated my life. I want to kill myself, like going through the same known information over and over again. Especially John, freaking channel changing. Hi, if you're watching, but freaking you made my life like a pain in the ass, because like, dude, you're channel changing so much. I need to organize what you're saying, but no, dude. So like, yeah, that's kind of like how I see it now. It's like I always have to get the job done. I have to see it through to the end. I don't have to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I have to finish, you know. So that's kind of like my mindset now.
Yeah, I guess that's also like the responsibility for the blast as well. Like, blasting from my perspective is like, seeing things through to completion. It's like, managing projects and then getting them completed and then ticking something off. Like all the blast saviors are always like just going through this cycle of like, what do I have to do? What's next? Check done, check done, check done
Yeah,
type.
you're guilty.
Yeah, but from my perspective, like I have those same fears or same desires, but like I also like just don't care if it's not done or not.
Right.
It's like, it hasn't been completed. The next project I'll do, I'll complete, and that's the thing I keep telling myself. It's like, that one didn't get finished, forget about it. Let's start a new project, and this one I will complete, but probably won't, and then just move on, and the next one, and then it's just the same kind of cycle. So
you don't feel bad that you're not completing that? You don't feel like shit?
yeah, it depends. Like depends. Like for video games, like I don't really care.
Yeah.
If it's to do with work, then yeah, then I'm like, okay, I have to be more serious about this. I need to make sure I'm doing these things properly. I'm organizing things. I'm structuring. I've got project management tools that I can use to kind of help me see things through. But yeah, I wouldn't say I have that feeling of being like feeling bad or something.
That's so interesting. I feel bad, but
yeah, I guess like
yeah,
this is like me. Like you have to, as the blast savior, like you have, it's almost like you have this responsibility, or it's like your ownership. I need to get this done, type thing.
Yeah, but it's even with consume too. Like I feel like, oh, I have to finish this book because I already started it. Like I gotta see it through the end, you know. Like I don't want to, but I'm gonna see it through the end, you know. So it's weird, you know.
Well, that's the thing. Like even like for me with books, like there's so many books that I've started and not like completed.
Yeah.
There's one book that I can name, Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Yeah, you finished that one?
Yeah. That's what I finished. I actually read it twice, and I listened to the audiobook. Like, so it's 3 times.
Is that like Otim's influence? Because he's obsessed with that book.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's influenced me on that one. Yeah, and we talked like we kind of we talk a lot about productivity and stuff, and we're always kind of going back to that book. It's a great one. Although, like as an ENFP, like I couldn't apply his methodology like 1-to-1.
Yeah,
because it's too TI, it's too SE, like I just can't, doesn't work for me.
Right.
But yeah, no, I've kind of taken elements from that book and then I try to create my own like productivity system.
I think from that book that my 2 biggest takeaway that I apply in my life all the time. The first one is if you can finish it in 2 minutes, you gotta do it right away.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
I do that all the time. And then the other one is open loops. I don't know if you remember that chapter, but like the things that drain your energy. So I always try to close the loop as fast as possible. Because like those are deadly. And especially if it's like people related where like there's like maybe bad feelings and you have to talk things out to people. Like I will talk to the person, even if I don't want to, you know, because like I don't want the open loop, man. I don't want to go home and like think about it.
But I guess that's also like kind of relates to what you were saying about like completing video games, completing books. It's like it's all these open loops, things you've started but not completed, right?
Yeah. No, because like if you think about it, dude, that's like it's like an irony thing, right? So you're like an energy dom, right? But like if you don't complete stuff and you think about it, I mean, I don't know if you're thinking about it. Maybe you're not, but like, you know, you're not. Okay.
No, not really. I can like forget the loops quite easily and just be like, oh yeah, there's this open loop. Okay, maybe you'll do it some other time.
So you never have any open loops? Like things that like...
No, I definitely have open loops, but it's like I have so many and they just kind of just get left like on the back burner. And it's not until like I'm feeling some pressure from one of them. Like if something is starting to become urgent and it's gonna affect people or it's gonna fuck me in the future.
Right.
If I don't do something with it, then it's like, okay, now I need to do it. I need something to kind of like turn the pressure up and then I'll jump in and do it.
Is it external pressure that you need then?
Usually, yeah. Sometimes it's internal because it's like, well, yeah, it's always external pressure, but it's like internally I'm building it up myself. It's like, okay, I really need to do this. I really need to do this. If I don't do it, then it's going to bite me in the ass.
Yeah. All right, dude. So you have SD Blast. I saw some of your TikTok videos, and you are blasting, dude. You're not like, it's not like fake bullshit blast. You're actually, there's like a lot of like people with like blast. and then they say they're blasting, but they're actually using play. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? You're not blasting, dude. But you're actually you're actually giving lessons on like Netherlands and stuff, you know. And it's like
Yeah,
legit.
that's true.
So it's like legit ST blast because you're giving facts, right? So
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of starting with play though. Like I'm using the play to kind of like do the energy thing, but then I'm like bring it back to a point.
yeah, exactly. Well, you have play blast demon, right? So they kind of go hand in hand, right? I consume sleep, for example. So when I consume, I can get to sleep, right? So
Yeah, true.
yeah. So why don't we like talk about our fort animals, and then since we started this journey back in 2018, what have you done? So what's your definition of what you should be working on in terms of the SD blast itself, um and and what have you personally have done in your life that you feel is like SD blast and like you feel good about it? Because like essentially when you work on your fourth animal, that's where like the thing where you feel the best, you know. Like you don't feel the best doing your saviors, you know. You doing your saviors, you feel exactly the same afterwards, you know.
Right.
So
You trick yourself. You think you're gonna feel good doing your saviors. It's like, ooh, addiction. But then it's like, oh shit, I've done this for too long and now I feel like shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go. But yeah, with ST Blast, like, yeah, like it's been 5 years being typed in OP. And like from the beginning, it's like, okay, where do I start? Like, what is Blast? We're all trying to figure this shit out. And now like I've kind of got to the point where I think I've like systemized it enough to be able to implement blasting into my life. So I see ST Blast as, so it's related to SI, right? So I'm always like kind of looking at like where are the SI holes in my life. So I look at that as like routine. I look at that as like order, like physical order in your living space. And just narrowing down, like trying to cut down the amount of things you're consuming or gathering. And what's worked best for me is like just building a routine and like living my life by a calendar. Like everything I do, like I put into a calendar. I structure all my days, anything that pops up, any agendas that come up, any plans that I have. Even if I just need to like make sure I clean the house tomorrow, I put it into my calendar at a certain time slot. Doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. I can play around with it, but as long as it's in there, like that's kind of like I've SI documented what needs to be done. And therefore now it's kind of also in my mind as like a reminder, but also like it's in the sensory, so I can kind of reference it and be like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. I have a lot of like recurring calendar things in my calendar, like, you know, clean the house on Sunday mornings. And in that calendar entry, I've got like a bullet point list of all the things I need to, like the high level things I need to do, like, you know, vacuum, clean the bathroom, empty the fridge, clean up the fridge, make sure it's fine, make sure that the house is dusted, there's no like stuff around. So it's very much in that perspective, it's very much related to like just physical organization. And when it comes to like other routine and like being productive and work and getting things done, I also like schedule time for so okay, for example, I'm building like a Instagram following as a, I guess, as a social influencer doing comedy videos. And I've been really successful. Like I've now got like almost 14,000 followers on Instagram.
Wow.
And it went really, like it grew so quick from the beginning when I started. And I kind of was like, why is this being so successful? Like, what am I doing? And it's like, I realized that like I SI the shit out of the process. So instead of just, when I first started, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to make funny videos. So let me just grab a phone and let's just record something and then upload it. No, like I had to make like a full-on like system and organize it and structure it like a machine, right? So what I did is like every morning I'd like dedicate like an hour, 30 minutes to, okay, let's gather ideas, write them down, put them into a note-taking app. And then the next part of the process will be like, okay, grab an idea and now let's expand on that. So now I'm going in and going over that information and trying to like create a script, create like bullet points. And then the next step is then, okay, now it's time to record. So grab my phone, set up, go through all the list, go through the script, talk, do some funny stuff on the video. And then the next step is then editing. So I put that into the editing flow. Um, go through and edit the video, and then I'll kind of have a day where I post. So I post videos like every fortnight on a Saturday morning. And yeah, so now and I've kind of put all of this whole process into a project management tool. So I know, and now I can kind of like, you know, create multiple videos and have them in various different stages. Like some videos are sitting in the edit stage, some videos are sitting in the ready to post stage, some videos are sitting in the draft stage. I need more information. So I can just now come and sit on my computer and be like, all right, where do I work? All right, I can work on here. Let me just start editing this. Or I can go back and go, oh no, this idea here needs a bit more information. So it's kind of organizing, created an entire system. So I don't just come down ready to work and be like, okay, what do I do next? Like I'm always ready to work on something specific. And I guess finally for ST blasting, it's really focusing when it comes to speaking, is like really focusing on the words and like really taking time to communicate well and not just like ramble and like look for words and be like blah, 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 blah. Like really kind of clear the mind. Also what helps is like one thing I noticed early on in the OP journey is like when I would blast, like my consume is always on. So like when I'm talking, I notice that I'm like constantly like looking around the room. I'm like looking at people's, pulling in their behaviors, pulling in their body language, getting distracted by things outside. And that really can like, it really fucks up how you communicate, like how you're talking, because your mind is jumping all over the place. But if you kind of learn to just like kind of disconnect from what's happening around you, because I notice like a lot of blasters do this, like when they're talking, it's like they're zoned out. It's like they're not even paying attention to anything around them. Like they're really just kind of like focused on what they're trying to say, and then bang, and then they're stopped, and then they're listening, kind of thing. So I kind of like try to draw elements of that. Is just when I speak, when I communicate, just completely block out anything around you. Do not look at things and look at people. Do not look people in the face. Just try to get these words out and focus and communicate.
Yeah, that's definitely a big difference between blast play and play blast. The blast plays, they do what you just said, like they kind of go in their own world. I'm play blast, so I don't. I still look around. But I can reel it back to the agenda. So it's but it's not as clear as those guys. Those guys are like pristine clean when they talk. It's like smooth. But then the problem with the blast play is it's a little bit more boring. When you have the play blast, there's like an element of fun because play is an energy animal, right? So so you know, to each their own depending on your animal stack. They're both effective. But yeah, it does sound like you're actually using your ST blast, man. It doesn't sound like it's like fake bullshit. Like you're actually like you're producing from the sound of it, and you have like a schedule and shit. Do you enjoy cleaning the house or no? You have a lead.
Yeah, so
is it? Did you get married already?
No, so we're getting married this year in October.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so do I enjoy cleaning? That's another thing I've had to learn as well. Like I've had to like learn to enjoy the SI, like really, like so. I noticed with masculine SI as a demon, like a lot of times I'll just walk through the house and I'll just get angry and triggered because things are not in order, or like there's mess on the floor. And like, especially living with an SE savior, play SE savior, they just kind of,
goddamn,
they're really good at navigating through mess. Like, and for them, it's not a problem. It's like, oh yeah, there's a pile of clothes over here. There's a pile of clothes over there. There's a pile of clothes over here. They all have a purpose. And to me, I just walk in and I'm like, what's going on? Yeah. So I've kind of had to learn to like be like, okay, I need to accept that I'm going to be in SE chaos mess.
Yeah.
And I either have to take initiative and organize it myself, or I'm just going to keep getting annoyed and angry and triggered. So yeah, I've had to kind of like learn to be like, all right, I'm going to clean and I'm going to enjoy this. And I've had to tell myself that, like, you know, while you're cleaning, you can also sleep process, because, you know, I'm physically doing something, and that allows me to then also be in my head and think about things.
Right.
How do you find that though? As like sleep last?
I hate cleaning. Absolutely hate it. I mean, like I'm the same problem as you. You know, my girlfriend's also lead. It's not lead SE, but she has double activated SE in the bottom, so it's also in a demon state. So it's like, you know, tornado and stuff, and it's feminine
Yeah.
SE. It says yours is masculine SE at least. You know, it's probably a little bit better.
No,
Like,
hers is feminine. Feminacy.
really, your fiance
T.
is FM? I thought she's double masculine.
No. She's visual.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's Savannah's type twin.
oh, really? Okay, okay. I didn't know that. I thought she was like MM or something.
No.
Okay, okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, and you're both EPs too in a way. She's EJ EP, right? So
Yeah, exactly. We're both chaos
yeah,
monkeys.
yeah. So okay, so that's also bad then. In that case, no, man, I hate it. I'm a control freak when it comes to like the cleaning stuff. Um, it's a little bit more systematized now. So for me, like, I don't mind vacuuming, so I do the vacuuming. I don't mind doing the laundry, so I do the laundry. So I think splitting the chores, that helps the most. In
Dude,
my case.
you know what's really helped? Getting a
But
robot vacuum. Outsourcing the vacuuming to a robot
that's
is
how that's how
just
it work, that little robot thing.
yeah, it's so good. It also has a mop attachment as well, and like a water chamber, so it'll actually vacuum and mop the floor at the same time.
So how does it not miss a spot? I'm like, I'm like, that's
Yeah,
not.
okay. So it depends on your living space and how much like chaos you have on the ground, but yeah, it works really well. Like it's so smart that it can like navigate the floor. It can like go around objects. If it detects carpet, like it'll lift up the mop function, the mop thing, so it doesn't like wet the carpet. Yeah, it works really well. Of course, like small little corners sometimes will be missed, but that's easily you can just pick up with a dustpan and move. But yeah, sorry, tangent, but it's such a lifesaver.
Yeah, I hate sweeping and mopping, so that might be good for like hardwood or hard floors.
Yeah, and dude, as an SI demon, like coming home to a floor that's always like spotless is like perfect.
Yeah, no, no, totally. Like I can relate to that. No, I'm a control freak with floors too. I put like a huge mat at the front of the door of the house so that like if you come in with your shoes, you don't step on the floor. I don't want to
Leave
freak.
the chaos at the door.
What's that?
Leave the chaos at the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Which is weird because like I'm an EP, I cause chaos, but it's NE, so it's a little bit different, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
um all right. I'll talk about the SF sleep last
Yes,
journey.
yes.
This one has been huge. I've actually been already working on it before I even got type. So I didn't know that it was like the demon I needed to be working on, but
Yeah.
I remember I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball, but like
I've seen episodes, like I've seen some, yeah.
yeah, well the concept there, if like the Saiyans, every time something bad happens to them, they get stronger afterwards, right? So
Yeah, they spend like 30 minutes like recharging, right?
yeah, that's for like before they fight. They
Yeah.
they spend like 10 episodes charging up, but like but then like the thing is like their superpowers, like when they get to the brink of death, if they somehow survive, their power level grows exponentially, right? So and then like long time ago, I was like me and like a bunch of friends were typing each other with like the anagram and stuff. Turns out I'm like a seven. So my glass is half full, and realized that I was avoiding the darkness. That's what the anagram said. You are avoiding the darkness. The world is not half full or half empty. It's both, right? So so I from the anagram, it taught me that I need to go to the darkness. So I immerse myself in like a really dark situation, like relationship, just life in general. Like I've been in really a lot of like bad situations. Like I was, for example, like when I was traveling in I don't know if I told you this before, but I was traveling in South America, and I was in Guyana. Did I tell you the story already? I don't know if I did.
I don't remember.
Yeah, anyways, I was in Guyana. I don't know if you've heard of that country before. It's like the only English speaking country in South America.
Yeah.
So I was crossing from Brazil to Guyana, to the capital city, and there's like no roads here. You're driving in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and like I ended up in like with a smuggler, and then the smuggler, he got caught by the checkpoint. He was a shitty smuggler. He was smuggling alcohol. He went to the river and got like a huge sack of alcohol and put it on the roof of the minivan, and like obviously the checkpoint saw it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what kind of fucking shitty smuggler are you? Shouldn't you hide your goods? Like even I already knew it was sketchy and stuff, but like anyways, long story short, we got stranded in the Amazon rainforest in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. No
Wow.
place to sleep, no place to go. getting bitten by mosquitoes that lays egg in your skin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and if you scratch it off, it like you have an open wound. I did. I had an open wound for like a week.
Oh gosh.
And then
Yeah.
but if you don't scratch it off, the eggs will hatch in your skin. So you need to scratch it off, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good. Dude, that was like the one of the worst situation. The only good thing though was like because it was like a police checkpoint / military checkpoint. They had like a cell phone tower, so I asked one of the people there to see if I can use his WhatsApp to like tell my girlfriend if you don't hear from me 24 hours, call the Canadian embassy, you know.
Oh
So
man.
it's like, yeah, dude, it was like horrible. I was like the worst feeling ever, feeling trapped in this jungle.
Yeah.
Like EP, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the next day we had like beg for like there's no cars here or anything. It's like, I'm in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. Once in a while you see like a 4x4 pickup will come by. They're delivering like goods through the forest, like or something. Or jungle, sorry. So yeah, managed to beg one guy to take us to the capital city. It was like an 8-hour ride. I'm sharing like a one-seater with a big Afro Guyanese guy. And like I only have my body fit, so like my other leg, half my body, my leg was like above the gear. Like 8 hours. Oh my god, it felt horrible.
Oh my
And like,
gosh.
so yeah, that's like just one example of like one hellish thing like I've experienced. There's more. This is just one, but like I purposely put myself in those situations because I knew that if I traumatize myself, um, I cannot not sleep process. When you get in like a really bad traumatizing situation, you cannot not look back and like look over it over and over again and like determine
Right.
how you feel about it.
Yeah. It's like
So
putting pressure on yourself. Like you're putting yourself through pressure to then like, okay, I need to sleep process it. Similar to like me with the blasting, it's like if for me to get some things done, like I kind of need to feel the pressure, right?
right. And then also because I took a year off to go like backpacking around the world, I was in so many like long plane rides and bus rides, like 24-hour long. I didn't listen to music. I just sat and looked outside the window and I just sleep process my life. So
Wow.
like by the time Dave and Shan typed me, they're like, you have 50% use of your sleep last. So I was like really proud of that. I was like, oh sweet, it was by
Yeah.
accident. But like kind of not. Maybe like subconsciously we all know what our like demons are. So
Yeah, I think that's true.
yeah. And then there's like other aspect of SF sleep, right? Like there's like the SF side. That part I'm fucking up. Like I already got that down when I was in my like 20s, but I completely screwed it up. Like I had like a party face. Like I got like I was working out really hard in gym. I got really jacked, 9% body fat. I was dressing really nice. And then I was like weird. I was getting like a lot of respect from people because like you look good, right? It's kind of retarded. I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate
Yeah.
it. I hate it so much. When you look good, you get respect and they take you seriously. But when you don't, it doesn't matter how smart you are and how much you know and how competent you are. It means jack shit if you don't have like the package.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like since getting a girlfriend, actually like slowly slipped that away, and like now I'm like, oh fuck, I lost my SF, so I just need to get back in it. So that part I'm definitely not doing. One of the things that being a DE, one of the things that like pisses me off is feeling disrespected, and like it's my fault. I'm not respecting the SF. I'm not respecting the SFs, hence I'm getting disrespected. So that part I need to work on. The other aspect of sleep is like, um, you know, pulling away from the tribe. So essentially setting boundaries and stuff. I think the pandemic taught me how to set better boundaries. Before I didn't have a system for setting boundaries with people. I was kind of like, if people wanted something from me, I just do it for them. Like I don't even think until later on. I'm like, why am I doing this for this person? I'm wasting my time. I could be playing video games, like, so, so in the pandemic, like I kind of did like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an audit of like my emotions and stuff. And I'm like, okay, which people in my life are toxic, or at least I perceive as toxic. And sometimes I'm also the toxic one. So, so it's like, okay, where is it where like my relationship with this person, when we're together, it's bad, it's toxic, right? And then I started putting parameters around my friendships and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I really like this friend. It's fun to hang out with this person, but he's really negative. I'm really easily influenced by the tribe, so I'm gonna limit my hangout with this person, once a month or something. Like so I started putting those parameters per relationship and stuff. A lot of people got pissed at me when I did this because they're kind of used to me being there to kiss the ring. But now I'm not gonna kiss your fucking ring. I'm gonna kick you in the fucking face instead. So, um, So yeah, it's still work in progress. I can't honestly say I've fully hashed it out yet, but it's better than before. But it's not fully hashed out. It's double masculine like yours, so it's
Yeah,
kind of aggressive.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. How does how do you see the double masculine sleep swings? Like, how do they come out?
Dude, I just tell people I don't like you, or like I have a coworker in one of my workplace. He looks exactly like Leon, and he's like, I'm pretty sure he's exactly the same type, maybe like an FM version of him, because he likes to like really dress up and stuff. But like he's super aggressive, and he's super self-absorbed, like Leon. He can take it. He can take it.
Yeah, you take it.
Yeah, I met him actually with like at that meetup, like where Dave
Yeah.
like had a meetup in Seattle and stuff, and like yeah, I still remember Leon. Like he went up to me, he's like, "Hey man, you want to hear me rap?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, sure. And he started rapping. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" Anyways, and then he told Dave he wants to take a picture of him, and then he like ended up like lifting up Dave with his hand and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I remember this photo. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what the hell's going on here? But like, anyways, like I didn't know it's like he was like a consume last, goofosaurus or what they call it or whatever. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I have a coworker like that, and he went up to me and he's like, "You're standoffish to me. I demand respect." And I'm like, "I don't like you." He's like, "How long have you not like?" He's like, "I don't. How long have you not liked me?" I'm like, "I haven't liked you since I met you." It's like so aggressive, right? So, like, yeah, and I do this to like a lot of people. Like even when I drive, I'll pull my window down if he's someone driving like a retard. I'll like open my window. I'm like, "Fuck you," you know, you know, and I'll like stick my middle finger out like this.
Wow.
Dude, I'm so aggressive when I'm like
Yeah, I get
I
that. Wow.
I start like I've been in so much fights when I was like in elementary and high school. Like the moment that SF sleep gets triggered, oh dude, I'm just like
Yeah.
by the way, I lost more than I won in fights. I'm actually not a good fighter, but like it doesn't change the fact that SF double masculine SF sleep will pick a fight when triggered. Um
Like the
anyway,
whole like Dragon Ball Z like concept, like it's because it's sleep, like it's all internal, right? And there's all this energy that's building up inside,
yeah.
and then once it gets triggered, it explodes.
Yeah. Anyways, the last part of SF sleep, I think David Chan talked about it in the class, is like the SIFI routine, like for your health specifically.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
like having a routine for exercise, for sleep, for eating healthy, for your mental health, like meditation, etc., like or something along those lines.
yeah, yeah.
That's the one I've been working on right now. I wanted to focus on the part that like was killing me the most, which is the actual sleep. Like I cannot sleep. I did my 23andMe DNA test. It actually told me like bad sleep. You sleep bad. So even my DNA test told me that.
Wow.
And then I watched an interview with with Dana White. I don't know if you know Dana White, but like the UFC president. He's the CEO,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
president of the UFC. Sleep last, ENTJ. Um, so apparently he did some blood work, and then after he did the blood work, the person who did the blood work told him he had 10 years to live.
Cool.
Because he sleep last, he's just like working all day, TE nonstop. Um, so he freaked out. So he went to a sleep clinic, and turns out he had like sleep issues, right? And and then he started like taking care of his health, eating like healthy and stuff. So I'm like, I freaked out when I heard that. I'm like, fuck, I have sleep last. I wonder if I did like a test, if something will
Wow.
show up.
Yeah.
I went to my doctor. I'm like, hey, I sleep really bad. I think this is like a serious thing. And like I snore at night, and you know, I every time I wake up in the morning, I feel like pure trash. Like I feel so bad every morning. I never wake up feeling refreshed, and I get 8 hours of sleep every night, but I
Wow.
never feel refreshed ever. I feel like death every morning, right? Even though I'm a crackhead, like energy wise,
Yeah.
it's fake. Inside, I feel like death. So I'm like, I need to address this shit. So I went to see I went to a sleep clinic actually. Um, and then I did two different things. So the first one is they put a camera up my nose. It turns out I had a deviated septum, so I can only breathe from one of my nose.
Dude, that's interesting. I had the same thing.
Oh, do you have a deviated septum too? Did you do
Yeah,
the
I had one.
operation?
Yeah, I had an operation to get
How
it
was it? Did
resolved.
it fix it after?
Yeah. So yeah, my nose was actually kind of like growing to the side a little bit. Like
Yeah,
it's just I don't know how that happened, but
yeah,
Yeah, and I couldn't breathe through one side of my nose. And the same thing, like they did the camera and they did an operation to kind of like restructure the nose so it's a bit more straight.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, my breathing issues are so much better now. Like,
Did the surgery, like how long did it recover? Like this recovery period?
yeah, so I took 2 weeks off work and I had basically like this bandage on my face and like these I think they called them a splint or something. These plastic things inside your nose to kind of keep it there to let it heal. After 2 weeks, they took it out, and then yeah, it was pretty much fine after 2 weeks, but like it was still kind of swollen, and the swelling kind of went down after about a month.
Did it hurt during the 2 weeks? Like you were?
No, I didn't like they gave you painkillers, but I didn't really feel any pain like afterwards at all.
You just had to breathe out of your mouth, right?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember if my nose was blocked afterwards, but yeah, I just remembered that like it wasn't painful at all. Like the actual recovery was fine. Like I stayed at home and just played video games for like 2 weeks.
I don't think I can do that because I have a new job, but okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I could take a week off or something.
Yeah.
So anyways, so that was the first part of the sleep clinic. The second part was I did a sleep test. So like they hooked me up in some machine and stuff, and then I actually went to sleep and stuff. So and then they analyzed the data afterwards. So basically after I submitted my data to the sleep clinic, turns out I stopped breathing 22 times per hour at night. Which was insane. I was like, what? I stopped breathing 22 times a night, like per hour. Yeah, and then I have moderate sleep apnea. And then the test was really cool. It was like they went on a breakdown too of what kind of sleep apnea, because there's like two kinds, right? So there's like central sleep apnea, and there's obstructive sleep apnea. So obstructive means like there's like the airways getting blocked by something. So it could be like my nose, my nose thing, or if you're overweight, your neck's too big. Apparently, if you're like some people who lift too much weight get sleep apnea, so they have to like actually can't get too much muscle, because like the thicker your neck gets, like it actually obstructs your airway.
Yeah, true.
Because I don't think humans were meant to be like that huge to begin with. So but anyways, I'm getting off tangent here. So the central was the one that got me the most. So central means your brain is actually not it's actually sending signals. It's not sending signals to tell you to breathe when you're sleeping, which is ridiculous. Like what? Like my brain's telling me not to breathe while I'm sleeping at night. So it's 60% central and 40% obstructive. So 40% is the deviation of my nose. Yeah. And now I have to sleep with a sleep apnea machine, like a CPAP machine.
Oh, like so the thing that goes in place, yeah.
Mine's only the nose, it's not the mouth, just the nose one, and it pumps air. So the moment it like detects I stop breathing, it'll pump like lots of air, which will force me to breathe. So now I don't wake up refreshed, but I don't wake up feeling deaf anymore. Okay. Yeah, so that the sleep part I'm kind of like taking care of. And then exercise, because I work in fitness, that's not a problem. I exercise on a regular basis. The only thing I'm screwing up with exercise is maybe I'm not doing enough cardio and mobility work. So I actually splurge on a bunch of equipment like just today to work on mobility, and I'm gonna start doing more cardio. And then nutrition is horrible. So when I was single, it was fine. I was like meal prepping all the time. But when you have like a girlfriend or fiance or wife, whatever, you guys are eating out all the time. Like it's like eating yummy food and stuff.
You also need to like consider what they eat as well, and like kind of align a bit on how you eat, basically.
Right, exactly. So that one went down the drain. I used to be really good with like my eating. Like I was like, I ate the same shit all the time, and I had like the SI routine. I hated what I was eating, but like I still ate like what I wanted like once in a while, right? But like now it's like out of the window. So I need to take care of that. That's a big problem. And then stress relief, I play video games, but I could probably be doing more. Like I go to massages, that kind of helps. So like the other thing I've been working on too is like for like mental health, it's like I've been seeing like a psychologist. So that's been very good. Like talking my feelings out with a psychologist and stuff. I have a client. He has a PhD in psychology, and he told me, he's like, Kendrick, if you're gonna see a psychologist, you need to do it right. You need to see them for 10 sessions in a row. And I'm like, okay. So that's what I did. 10 sessions in a row is and then dude, it was a like game changer. I learned so much from the psychologist. He said like sometimes you talk to a psychologist and you feel like you don't have a problem, but it's because glass ceiling, and you need to break the glass ceiling. And then there's several glass ceiling apparently. So I've actually noticed that. I'm like, oh shit, I just broke through a glass ceiling. And then I'll talk to the guy for like a bit. I'm like, nothing's happening. Like I already feel better. I don't feel better actually. There's a glass ceiling and I just need to break through it. So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Like, do you see, how do you, like, this is a bit of a tangent, but how do you see like the combination of like, knowing your OP type with psychology? Because like some people would probably think that, once you have your OP type, it's like you don't need psychology. You can kind of like work yourself out, right? But I don't know. I do see other people in the OP community who are also seeing psychologists and getting like therapy and stuff, and seeing like lots huge benefits from it.
I think with having a psychologist, yes, I think your OP type you can figure out what your problem is from like a big picture perspective, but the specifics you have to investigate yourself, like kind of like with the sleep clinic thing that I did.
Yeah.
Like I had to go there and investigate, right? So for when it comes to like emotional problems or mental problems, then the psychologist will help me flush out like which one of those is actually a problem and stuff. So
Mm.
so I think it doesn't matter whatever type you are. My girlfriend's also seeing a psychologist. So and I also recommended to her to talk about certain things that I've seen. Sometimes because like if you're a mope, then you might think, oh, I already know everything about like myself, but actually that's not true because externally there's people are seeing something about you that you're fucking up on,
Yeah.
and you probably should probably get addressed. So for example, like with my girlfriend, like she didn't think anger was a big thing, but I'm like, you have a lot of anger issues. You need to like probably talk to your psychologist about this. And then when she talked to the psychologist about it, they open a can of worms, So um so I feel like if you're seeing a psychologist, you should take it into consideration things that you feel bad about and also what other people say about you. So I think that's like the best way
Okay.
to approach it and stuff.
Good point.
Yeah. So yeah, and then like the last thing that with like the SF sleep class that I'm working on is like I'm seeing like so many like healthcare professionals now. Like I'm seeing massage therapist, chiropractor, acupuncture, physiotherapist, dentist. Like I'm just
Nice.
booking the shit out of this. Like I'm like, I want to live long. I want to there's life is so precious and there's so
Yeah.
much things in life that I look forward to doing, and I won't be able to do any of it if I'm dead. So and then like being sleep last, that's gonna be my biggest problem. It's gonna be death. Like I look at my family history, so many people have colon cancer, lung cancer. I'm like, I'm gonna be like those guys. I'm not immune to this. So I'm gonna go the opposite route and go see all the specialists and shit.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my journey
That's
so
cool,
far.
man. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, dude. Is there anything else we haven't covered? Or
Social needs, important.
yeah, last
So,
part. The last thing we're gonna cover is social needs.
social.
I've been talking for a while. You wanna cover
Yeah,
what?
sure. I'll take over. So yeah, this is a real interesting one. Like, it's like all of a sudden Dave and Shan have now like revealed this new coin or coins. I still haven't figured out. I guess it's just 2 coins, right? Or is it 1 coin? I don't know. With four,
There's four of them. So
yeah, no. But so firstly, let me just talk about like what I think the social needs will add to OP. So obviously now like there's now technically 2048 personality types with all these social coins,
yeah,
which is a huge what would you say? Yeah, a revelation. Let's just say, let's call it that one, or an evolution to OP. We're already seeing it evolve, right? It's going to keep unfolding.
right.
And for the social needs, I really see that this kind of adds a real, like a new dimension of seeing yourself, in, well, yeah, a new dimension of seeing yourself, like with having your 512 type. Like I remember, just when the social needs came up, I started to already look at like, okay, what are these social needs and how does it apply to me? But I was really looking at it like all of these, the areas that apply to social needs, like ego, making friends, specializing in certain areas, and whatever the other one is. I looked at those. I've like already considered these elements in life, like as things that people do, but I was always trying to relate them to a 512 type. But now it's like, I now need to look at these outside of the OP lens and be like, okay, this is a new dimension we need to to look at. I don't know if that makes sense, but in saying that, so for me personally, I think that I am a 2. I'm not ego. Like Dave said something about like, look at your life now. How old are you? If you're like, getting close to 40 and you haven't really like put a stamp on anything or put your name on something or really like tied yourself to something big, then chances are you're probably not a 1. I also don't have the need to like want to win all the time. Like for me, like if we're playing a game or I'm in a competition or something, like for me, it's more about having fun with people. Like, let's enjoy this together instead of like, I want to win and come first and like look it down at you and point at you and be like, oh, I'm the winner type thing.
Right.
I do not have that at all. And so then it comes down to, okay, am I the specializing 3? Definitely not. Like I cannot concentrate on one thing and be an expert at something. Like I really have tried, like, with drumming, like I love drumming. And like there was a period in my life where it's like I just wanted to dedicate everything to just being a drummer and being the best drummer I could be. But like I got so frustrated and tired because I'm like, there's so many other things I want to be doing at the same time, other areas. Like, I got my Instagram channel where I'm making comedy videos. I want to do that. I also want to go to the gym and, get really good at fitness and things like that. So, I like to have multiple different projects and just not be experts in any of them, but just be kind of good enough at all of them to kind of, have fun and enjoy them.
Right.
That's why I don't relate to a 3 at all. 2 and 4, it's yeah. So Dave says like with a 4, you are just friends on top of friends on top of friends. Like everything you do is about being with friends and people.
Right.
And that does sound appealing to me. Like I'm always looking to be in groups with people and connecting with people. And I feel like
you are. Yeah.
I know, right? Like I've like through my OP journey, I've created so many like subgroups in the OP community that
you're like in all the meetups, dude.
I know, exactly. Like I even started the whole meetup initiative in Europe. Like me and Melanie, we got together, we started organizing. Then Floris came along and Chris, and now we're all kind of like doing this year after year. But like I'm in different like WhatsApp groups, I'm in different messenger groups. I created like the Blast Last group. Like I've just noticed this pattern of me always creating social groups, even like outside of OP. Like I'd create like I'd grab a few certain friends that all have similar interests. I'm like, oh, let's make a WhatsApp group and let's see what happens there. So I don't know. There's just this pattern of me connecting groups of people together because I'd like being around people. But then Dave relates that to work. It's like, okay, in your career, you don't really care about exactly the specific thing you're doing at work. You just want to be doing it with people and with friends. And if the friends or the people things starts getting a bit toxic, you're like, all right, I'm out. Let's go to the next one. So I relate to that a lot, but what I think hits home the most is like in the 2 is like I do feel like I'm always, and I didn't know about this myself. Like people had to point this out. Like Otum as well has helped me kind of see this. Is like whenever there's something that has to be done, or like someone approaches me, it's like, hey, I need help. Like I'm kind of always prioritizing helping the person or being responsible to getting something done. And in work, I see this. Like I'm a manager now at work. And I'm managing a team. And for me, it's like yes, I like the fun. I like to hang out with people, but at the same time, like I feel like I'm prioritizing getting the stuff done and trying to find the right people for the project. It's like this person is really good at this thing, so I want to use them on this project here. This person is really good with people, so I want to get them to be more on the front end and like dealing with the people and managing and like creating that kind of community. So I do feel like in that sense, I'm quite strategic, but at the same time, like, 2 and 4, it's for me, it's quite really, I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm certain, 100% certain it has to be one of those 2 coins. That coin. Yeah.
I don't think you're a 4. I think you're a 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because you're not happy-go-lucky 4. Dude, you're not like you're missing that happy-go-lucky thing. You're not like, what, like the way Dave describes the 4 is you're kind of naive. You think everything's real. I don't think you do. I think you like friends, of course, because that's your savior technically from the social type. But I also think you're aware that it's not real. Like the stuff that's happening in life, it's not real. You know, you can see
Okay.
beyond like what's happening. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of
No, I
NF.
get that. I get
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
So,
yeah, go ahead.
no, I had a point, but it's kind of it disappeared now. Yeah. What about you? What do you think your social type is?
But before we talk about my social type, there was something I've been thinking about actually. I'm really curious about this. I think this is also super important in like OPS. You know, in the old Myers-Briggs, you get like, like, oh, I'm like 60% extroverted, 40% whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what is it? Like you're 40% or
Yeah.
60%
There's like
NE, 20%. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you're 60% NE, then you're 40% SI, right? Or something like that. And
Yeah.
then that tells you what your like type is essentially. I think that still applies, honestly. I'm starting to think now that um let's say if you look at your animals and stuff, I think they also have a percentage, in my opinion. Like if your FI, let's say your FI is like 80%, right? So you look at like David Goggins, I think he has high FI, for example, right? So he's, I think, like let's say he has 80% FI, and like let's say you know, um and I think like when your animals is connected, it that's why some people are more like, let's say, even though they're like a tribe above self, they're very DI, for example. I think there's also like a percentage thing happening. So even though
Okay.
you're savior for something, I think there's like a percentage thing that's still like kicking in there somewhere.
Do you think the sexual energy, like sexuals have some influence on that? Like if your FI is masculine, then you'd probably have more percentage of
I don't think so. I think that's completely different also. I think that's
okay.
also separate on its own. I feel like with the sexual, some people are, you also have your own certain percentage, right? Like for us, for example, we're both audio, right? Um, but so our audio will automatically be the highest. But I think our kinesthetic and tester will have a different percentage also. And our percentage for those two in the middle will be different from each other. The only thing we'll have in common is the first one, the audio, right?
Yeah.
And then the last one would be visual. But then some audio people have good visual, so their percentage is also skewed a little bit, right? So I feel like there is like a percentage thing occurring. Um, whether that be like the old traditional Myers-Briggs type, and like how your FI, SI is connected, your NE, TE is connected and stuff. So obviously this is just something I kind of was thinking this last few days. So but I don't know how true this is, but
Mm.
I
You
wouldn't
need
be
to
surprised. Sorry?
find an NITI to ping this off. I find that like when you're NTing something like as an EFP, like NETE,
Yeah.
and you have like theories and stuff, like I find it's always good to go to like someone in the alpha quadra, sorry, the beta quadra, because they have NITI sleep.
Yeah.
And they're good at like narrowing down the NT, whereas we have like this high level NT view. It's like, oh, we see this pattern, could be this, and like they kind of at least help. So I usually go to Oten, like he kind of helps me like confirm some theories sometimes.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I also see the opposite, by the way, like with people with FE. Like
Yeah,
sometimes they don't know what makes them happy. So I have to tell them, I'm like, I've narrowed down your FI, like
yeah,
um
exactly.
yeah. So anyway, social type, I'm a 2. Um
Yeah,
yeah, there's no way I'm a 4 because I I'm not ambitious. So I am ambitious.
yeah,
But I'm not a 1 either because I don't care to be number 1, and it's always bugged me. I always, before I felt like, is there something wrong with me? I'm not competitive. Like I don't want to be number 1. I just, unless I'm playing video games. So I have like a small box where I'm like a number 1. Like I play, like when I play couch co-op with like 3 other buddies, I'm always first place. So I take pride in that. But that's my only box where I care to be like number 1.
right,
Right?
okay.
I have a friend who's a number 1, and I actually told him, because I used to run a travel YouTube channel very seriously. I still have it, but I don't run it seriously anymore. I just kind of put out content once in a while. And then I told him, so I'm in a travel hacking space also, so I teach people how to travel hack. Um, so I told my friend, I want to be the best number 2. And he's like, you can't say that. I'm like, why not? like I'm like, if you look at business, there's Coke and Pepsi. Well, Coke's number 1, Pepsi's second. There's always like the first and the second, and then everything else is gone. And I'm like, I'm cool with being the best number two. And he's like, you can't say that. You always have to strive to be number one. And I'm like, why? Like that doesn't align with my goal. My goal is to I want to succeed, but I don't want to lose all my friends,
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're still
eventually,
prioritizing your friends. Yeah.
eventually when I do succeed, I want to give back to my friends too, so and even right now, I just refuse. Like I've had like INTJ mentors in the past, um, who have told me that you need to, if you want to succeed in business, you need to get rid of all your friends and just focus on your business, right? And if you're dating someone, you need to tell them, hey, I have this time slot you can enter, but otherwise I'm working on my business. And I just couldn't relate to that.
I just cringy.
No, but the guy is successful, so obviously it works. But
yeah, okay. But there's a trade-off, right?
Yeah, I think he's possibly a number one, INTJ, so I just can't relate to that sentiment. I just can't relate to it. Like I don't, because if you look at the end game, right? Well, in the end game, how do you picture your life? Well, for me, I picture myself playing video games with my friends when we're old, in the couch still, same couch,
cool.
whatever. Like I also see myself running a successful business, but I also see myself, having friends and family members that I spend time with. So like my psychologist asked me, how do you see yourself on your deathbed, right? And I told him, I see in my deathbed, I have my friends, family around, and they're gonna float my body in the freaking water, and they're gonna shoot an arrow with a flaming bow, and my body's gonna burn. I'm gonna go down the water.
Game of Thrones style.
Exactly. That's how my dad is. That's gonna be my funeral, right? Because he asked me what my funeral is gonna look like, and that's what I told him. I don't know how I came up with that, but it's like I don't want to be cremated. I don't want to be buried. Buried's the worst. SI. I'm like, I don't want to get buried. Cremation sounds painful. What if I'm still kind of alive? But I think the arrow thing, I'm burning, but then and I think drowning is like probably the best way to die. It's like a little bit better. But anyways, I digress. So like, anyways, I'm a 2. I did get a chance to work as a supervisor once for the Canadian election. I was shocked how good I was as a supervisor. It was my first and only time doing it. Everyone was like complimenting me. They're like, Kendrick, because of you, we have a break. The other supervisors, we never had a break. We just kept working. I'm like, of course, you need to get a break, otherwise you'll be tired, and then you won't be able to do your job well. Like, I mean, like it's like a no-brainer, right? And then like I'm a double decider too, right? So I'm like, okay, if like the voters are pissed off, I can defuse the situation, and I can help my team essentially, right? And then I also had like a good eye. I'm like, okay, this person's weak, and this person's strong, so I'm gonna pair them up. So this person can carry. And then I was also looking at it like in a funny way, because like I had some young people in the team who's kind of like angsty, like young, like late, like maybe like 18-year-old, or like early 20s. They're kind of angsty. They don't really want to be there. They're just there for money, and then but like so I look at them. I'm like, okay, this guy is very angsty, but I know he likes this girl. Now I can tell this girl doesn't really see him in that way, but she still likes him as a friend. So I'm gonna send them together under break. They can go under break together.
That's good. Yeah, it's very strategic.
What's that? Yeah, and then after he comes back from the break, dude, he became like one of my top performer, and then I got him to do 2 tasks to help carry the weak workers. So like that's kind of like what I learned. So like, yeah, definitely a 2. 2, 4 because of friends. There is like 1, because so if you're a 2, you're automatically 3 last, right? So 2, 4, 1, 3. So I have a little bit of 1. I'm like I said, with my small box of competition, I have some ambition to be successful. I want to make 6 figures. I don't necessarily need to make 7 figures. If I make it 7 figures, fantastic. And I have like some of the 1 aspiration to give back to the community. Like once it's like they do like stuff. So I have some aspiration to that. Like my goal is to visit every country in the world. So I think visiting every country in the world will give me the answer I'm looking for on how I can give back to society. And then 3 is obviously the hardest thing. But I think I'm a little bit different from you, because I cannot focus, but because of my weird circumstance where I got stuck in the same job as a fitness person. By accident I reached like pretty high level. But that's pure accident. I just got stuck, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you say it's like by accident though? I guess.
Yeah, so I'll tell you. I work in fitness because fitness, when I work in the fitness industry, I have a lot of downtime where I'm in front of a computer, and I'm supposed to be watching the gym, but I'm actually working on my business. Hopefully my boss is not watching this. But so I purposely did that job so that during my downtime I can be working on my own business.
Wow.
And so I purposely stuck out that job because that was the only job that allowed me to have a steady income while working on my side projects, essentially. And every year you have to renew your certification, you have to take courses and stuff. So every year I'm taking like different courses. Like I don't know, like the one of the weird thing being lead NT, I'm a certified yoga instructor, for example, which is freaking weird as hell, right? I'm a spin instructor too. Spin is fine because it's audio kinesthetic, right?
Yeah.
But then I teach yoga, and then people get upset at me and tell me that you're teaching your yoga class like a spin class, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm also play blast. I'm not Zen, right? So
yeah. Well, there's some benefits to having like more high energy yoga, right? That's more of a workout rather than the relaxed part of it. But anyway.
I guess so. But the point is, I'm like, I've studied so much that
Yeah. Okay.
like I know a lot. Like I could probably, like, if I see you, I probably know exactly what kind of workout you need to do, what muscle group is not being activated properly, how to go from point A to point B the fastest. Like I love working with NTs because like when I talk NT, I hate, like, SFs are the worst to work with. No offense, because like I just want to look good, right? I'm like, but we have to follow all this like science and steps to get you there, and sometimes it's a little bit longer. I can't get you your beach body by summer. I can't get you to look super good looking by the wedding date. I can't, because I don't have enough time. But if you give me 1 year, we can make you look fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, that's how I got stuck.
Nice. Yeah, well, the socials, man, the socials are really they're a very interesting dimension. I'm looking forward to see more information and how. Well, I was going to say how you identify the socials in people, but I think it's actually probably one of the easier coins to see. Kind of like the sexuals, they're kind of quite easy to spot, and I guess these socials seem quite easy actually.
It is, yeah. Like my girlfriend's a 4, for example. Like she's always wondered why she has no ambition. She doesn't want to be a boss bitch. Like, like it's like, yeah, you're missing the 1, right? She has the 3, the focus. She has the 4, friends. She has the 2, responsibility. So one, right? Like that one's good to see also. Like if you have friends that like just won't take responsibility for anything, I'm like, oh, this probably said 3 last, right?
That makes sense.
Right. Or sorry, like a 2 last. Sorry. They're probably a 3, because yeah. So like you can see someone's social type based on what they're not doing, because it's obvious.
Sure. Yeah. So okay, if she is a 4, then that's secondary is 2, right? And then it's 3, then 1.
I know it's 4, 3, 2, 1, just like it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah. Wait. Hold on.
Yeah. So that's why the ones have winning and responsibility, and then if you have responsibility, that helps you win, right? So yeah.
Okay, so then the 2s we're 2, and then
we're 2, 4.
Yeah.
So the first one is a little bit entrepreneurial, risk taking, what do you call it? Like managerial role, essentially. Lots of responsibility. We take responsibility for everything in our life. No excuses. That's one of the labels. Like I hate making excuses. The moment I make an excuse, I catch myself right away and I correct it. Even if I'm a DE and I like to blame, I definitely will blame, but I'll catch myself blaming and I'll take it back. I'm like, no, I'm full of shit. It's me. I'm the problem, So that's kind of like us. It's like 2, right? Responsibility first, friend second, and then winning, admission. It's like a hobby animal, you could say, or hobby social. maybe for you it's like winning in like a small box or something, maybe board games or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe board game, even video games as well. I'll probably relate to that.
Yeah. But it's like you have, and you probably have some ambition too, like you want to get promoted at work, and
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you want to have like a nice home to live in, you know, like
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I don't need like a mansion. I don't need to be like earning millions of dollars or have like fancy cars and all this shit. Like I just if I can live comfortably, then that's good for me.
yeah, you have a cap on it.
Yeah.
It's not like a pure one, you know, like,
Yeah.
or like I don't, you know what, dude, like the crazy things, like those threes are really arrogant too, you know, because they're a three and then a one after, right? So
Yeah, true.
they also brag a lot. Like I have friends that are threes and they brag so much. I actually think they're a one. The only thing that makes me not think they're a one is because they have so much friends. So friends is still important to them, right? You know, being a three. So 3, 1, 4, right? That's like the number.
Yeah, okay. 3, 1, 4, 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So like two responsibility is like the worst thing. And like I look at their life, I'm like, okay, you have health issues because you don't take the responsibility for your health, right? Like I'm a sleep plus and I take so much responsibility for it, you know. Because I'm a two, right? Um, and then like I have a friend, he's like an IP. He brags a lot, so you might think he's a one, but he's actually a three because like whenever we have conflict, it's never his fault, you know, which is weird because you're like IPs, they put the pressure on themselves supposedly, right? But if you're like an IP and you're a three, you take no self responsibility. So
Yeah.
so it's like a and I like that because humans are like complex, right? We're not like linear creatures, like um but if you look at a social scale, two is still higher than three, even though three brags more than two. Um, I think someone did I don't know if you saw that Facebook post, someone did a math on it. So basically, the lower the number, the higher you are. So if you're like a one, if you add like 1, 2, and 3, what's the number for that? Like I'm Asian, but I can't do math. Six, six. Uh, yeah, so six, right? And then like if you do it, if you're like a two, it's like two plus one plus 4, right? So what is that? 7? And then like a 3 is like 3 plus 4.
Who posted this? Was it Tom?
Someone
Thomas
did.
A.
I forgot. Someone did. It was brilliant. I really like it. Plus 1, so 8. So they're 8, right? So that's why twos are still higher than threes, even though it's super close. It's only like one.
But what is the score equal? Is it what's the result? Like what does it mean if you have a higher number or a lower number?
The higher the number is, the lower you are on the social scale. Like
Social.
not. It doesn't mean you're not gonna do well in life, because there's a lot of fours, like Dave said, that are like number ones, like Joe Rogan, for example. You know,
Mm.
So, and then they also said in the classes that like there's a lot of number ones that are shit. They're pure garbage. They suck. They're stupid. They're weak. They're pathetic. They'll never be a one, even if they see themselves as a one. So, so that also exists. So, like you could be a highly skilled four. You have no ambition. Did you watch that video with that guy, like the bodybuilder guy? He doesn't want to win, and then like and they're like, dude, you can win. He eventually won like twice, like Mr. Olympia. But they're like, it's like this guy doesn't want to win. People have to like tell him, you need to win, man. You can win this thing. You know,
Was it the social needs QA?
they did a video of the difference between fours and ones.
Okay.
But like back to our old topic earlier, I always have to finish everything, so I watch all the videos, even if I don't want to, in the classes. So
Yeah, completion. The
yeah, I have to
completion.
complete it. I'm like this. I don't really care to watch this, but I'm not going to watch it. Like, oh, another ESFP. No offense to ESFPs. Like I'm like, okay, let's watch this.
Yeah,
You
fair enough.
know, and then I'm like, there's so many ESFPs too, right? That's why the ESFPs hate being an ESFP.
Yeah, I've said also a bit of a tangent, but yeah, ESFPs and ENFPs I think can really trigger each other. There's a certain trigger that we have against each other, and it all comes down to I'm not sure if it's the sleep or if it's like just the demon OI in each other.
Yeah.
So like we're really good at like calling out the patterns of ESFPs that they don't see in themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like ESFPs are really good at pointing out like our lack of SF or like
Yeah, you're a loser.
yeah.
Good job for pointing out my pattern. You're still a fucking loser. And then you're like, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's good.
All right, dude. I guess we can wrap it up here. We went over our 45-minute time limit.
Good. There's a lot of information, so it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. By the way, yeah, it's good catching up with you again, man. So yeah, we'll wrap it up here, and
Definitely.
until next time, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, man. It was a good chat.
All right, peace out.
Bye.